Right, so left off, get ready to talk about these old Boy Scout books. Now, over the years, a number of you guys have talked to me about starting up an organization, okay, like the Boy Scouts used to be, right, like 100 years ago, 80, 100 years ago, like then, you know, not like the modern era baloney that they got going on now. Not the Scouts BSA. They still want to throw that BSA in there. They're trying to play this game with people. The Boy Scouts is trying to play this little game with people. You know, they're trying to like cater to everybody and everybody's whims and every little you know minority groups, you know, feelings and blah blah blah. You know, it's like that one guy said when he was up at this podium and this weirdo in the crowd said, "Well, where does it say that a girl can't be a Boy Scout in the Boy Scouts?" And he said, "In the name, Boy Scouts." I mean, it's as simple as that, right? So anyway, we all know about this baloney that's been going on for a number of years with the old Boy Scouts organization. They've ruined it, and so therefore all of these little splinter groups have popped up. Some of them are definitely, they want to look like the old school, but they're not. And some of them are based on the Scouts in the UK, where they have Boy and Girl Scouts, and they just call it Scouts, I guess. But you know, even Baden-Powell back in the day, the girls would be like, "Well, we want to be in the Boy Scouts," and he's like, well, we're just going to have to create something for you. You know, they had Girl Guides or whatever it was, right? And then that evolved into Girl Scouts. But I'm going to tell you, here's the thing. The gripe, by the way, here's a couple books just for, right? So, it evolved, the Girl Scouts, if you look at the old Girl Scouts, and I'm talking old, you know, 1930s, 1940s, they had all of the campouts and they had all of the same stuff as the Boy Scouts did in the Girl Scouts. Look at the old Girl Scout manuals. I mean, the big gripe in the modern era is that they said, well, our girls want to go on campouts and they want to do all of these things that the boys are doing. So we want to be in the Boy Scouts. We want it all changed around to meet what we say. You know, but the thing is instead of trying to integrate your Girl Scouts in with the Boy Scouts, just change it back to your old curriculum. Get rid of cookie baking and put in, you know, bow drill fire. Right? How hard is that? It wasn't about that. It was about the alphabet weirdos wanting to control something that was boys only. That's really what it was about, right? And there's nothing wrong with having a boys only or a man's only group. And there's nothing wrong with having a girls only or women's only group. There's nothing wrong with that. Because God made them male and female. Okay? God made them male and female. He made the decision. It's not your choice to decide whether you're one or the other. You're born a certain way, and that's it. Better get used to it, because it ain't changing. No matter how much you try to change it, it ain't going to change. You're born male and female. You either got the extra part or you didn't. Right? So, anyway, a number of years ago, several times people in the audience have said, why don't you start a small organization that and make a curriculum, blah, 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 to where we could just kind of go along with it. We could do our own thing. Well, I would love to do that if I were a millionaire and I had a lot of extra time and I had a place to do it. But I really don't. I don't have any extra time in general. And I definitely don't have a place to do it. You know, if I were a millionaire, I would buy some acreage and say, hey, everybody in the YouTube land there that's interested, we're going to have a get-together, and here's the place, you know. That would be cool, right? But, you know, not being a millionaire, I can't do anything like that. So, what's the next best thing? Is for me to recommend that men who have boys, and you can do it with your daughters too. I mean, you could create your own little family thing, okay? If the girls want to get involved, and you just base it on the old stuff, So I got a few of these books from the old days. I collected a few of them, and I looked through them, and this stuff was made when, you know, it was real Boy Scouts, right? I mean, they were out there doing hardcore stuff with the kids, teaching them how to be men. And this is a patrol leader's handbook, okay? So this is leadership. It's got all kinds of goodies in here. Talks about the uniform, badges, flags, how to create a patrol, and you know, because you got the troop, and then you got several, you know, you got it 1 to however many patrols that you want within the troop, okay? And they can have games against each other and whatnot, you know, a little bit of rivalry. So anyway, this one is from 1944. So the Second World War was still going on then. And this is from 1944. It says that this was originally published in 1929. Okay, so yeah. First printing 1929. 1929, then 31, 33, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 41, 42, 43, 44. So basically, every year they printed a whole bunch of these guys. And, you know, and this one's from 1944. In 1944 was the 13th printing. They printed 46,000 just that one year. This is during the war, okay? This is during the war. In 29, oh, check this out. So the first and second printing were both in 1929. The first printing was 27,000 copies of this, and the second printing was 52,000 copies, 1929. So that's 50, 70, 7, 8, 9, that's 79,000 copies of this book were printed off in 1929. And that's when everybody was, you know, in the 20s in the U.S., that's when everybody was getting their Boy Scouts of America up and running. So everybody was looking through this book and figuring out how they had to do it and get everything together and then do it, right? So this was your template. This is a good one to start with. So this is a 1944 Handbook for Patrol Leaders. And then, of course, you got Scoutmaster book, right? This field book, now, an interesting thing about this field book, this is a soft cover. But I wanted the hardcover. I found a hardcover one for like 20 bucks online. But the person who was to order this for me with their credit card was just a little late. by minutes. Okay, minutes. That's how that whole eBay thing works. You know, I mean, if you don't say yes and buy it, somebody else might just buy it out from under you, right? So you better get on it. So there was one just like this in hardback that I was a little upset that I missed it, but it is what it is. So I found this other one in perfect condition. It's practically unused condition for about the same price, about 20 bucks. And this is the field book for, it says for boys and men. But let me tell you about this field book. This field book will teach you more than many of these so-called bushcraft books. Okay, the basic bushcraft books that are on the market. It will teach you more than most of the very basic bushcraft books on the market. There are other bushcraft books that I consider more like intermediate and advanced, you know. But this one has a lot of stuff, okay? A lot. It even talks about wind chill in here, okay? It has a wind chill chart and whatnot, because you guys know that I'm big on wind chill. If you don't pay attention to wind chill, you're going to get in trouble. Anyway, it's even got some stuff on sailing in here, right? Fire, making fire, ropes, saws, axes, camping, navigation, wild edibles. This is a great book. So if you're looking to train up your kids, some of you men who have families with multiple children, you could get together, you men get together, and you could form a curriculum. Form your own curriculum, right? Something to go by. And then start teaching your kids. Many have already done something similar to this already, I'm sure. But that's all you got to do. But it's these old books that you want. Because the old books have the real knowledge in them to pass on, right? So that's what I got to say about old Boy Scout books. I've got about a couple minutes left. I remember when I was a Boy Scout. Back then it was really Boy Scouts. I mean, you know, sometimes we were left on our own to do certain things, you know, 10-mile hike, you know, whatnot, camping overnight. We didn't have an adult standing around over our shoulder all the time. You know, that's part of what that whole patrol leader stuff is, you know. Get with your guys and you know, you make some plans. Hey, we're going to go to this wilderness area. We're going to go for several days. We need to get all our stuff together. We need to prepare. And we need to have a plan in case we need to you know, bail out. You know, such situation happens, we got to bail out, you know. All that stuff was on kids, right? It was all on kids. Leadership, responsibility, and so on. We do not have that anymore. We got all this helicopter chaperone stuff, and everything's indoors, and oh, don't go outside because you'll get dirty. You know, I mean, you know, it's ridiculous. That kind of stuff teaches leadership for young men, okay? Yeah, that's right. 10, 11 years old, okay, you're going to start being a man. You're going to start learning how to be a man. You're going to start learning how to do stuff outside, being self-sufficient. You're going to learn how to be leader. You're going to learn how to take charge. You're going to learn this. You're going to learn that. That's right. That's the way it should be. Need to get rid of all this nonsense, these pronouns and stuff. Those is a bunch of rotten seeds that have been planted in our midst by the devil. I'll see you later.